This webcast is for Modern European History, SI3, War in Afghanistan. As you can see, we're starting with the collage, just giving you some visual context for the war in Afghanistan. The second slide does much of the same, where you see American and Allied forces. You see some militants at the bottom right-hand corner with an RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade, common weapon used against the American and NATO forces. Here's a map of Afghanistan. Notice how it's been divided into regions, and also notice the number of nations by way of their flags that have participated in this. This is not necessarily an American war. This is a multinational war, including using the military alliance of NATO, which is an acronym that we introduced you to during the Cold War unit. Also notice how Afghanistan here is divided into multiple ethnic and linguistic groups. This is a very diverse country in which not all Afghanis like each other, nor do they speak the same language or dialect, making this quite a difficult place to operate in militarily, not knowing who is loyal to whom, who's friend, who's foe. Not to mention the mountain regions, which make it very difficult to operate in militarily, give enemy forces great places to hide and access routes to be able to evade outside of the country. Notice on the west, Afghanistan borders Iran. On the east, Afghanistan borders Pakistan. And Pakistan plays a big role in this war in Afghanistan story. Here's the facts. The war, what's the United States codenamed Operation Enduring Freedom, started after the 9/11 attacks in October 2001 and is currently going on. The objective of the war was pretty basic and pretty simple. We went into Afghanistan to kill or capture all Al-Qaeda leadership, which certainly included Osama bin Laden as being the top leader of that organization. We also had the objective of removing the Taliban government from power in Afghanistan because they were unwilling to cooperate and help us into accomplishing our mission of killing or capturing Al-Qaeda leadership. The participants, multinational, NATO forces, even some Afghani forces allied with the United States. The strategy in Afghanistan is an interesting one. This is not a war like Vietnam or Korea or World War II, where we amassed huge numbers of troops and equipment and deposited them into a country of operations. This war has been described as War Light, in which we made use of special forces, which are smaller, highly tactical, and mobile forces. Also, a lot of CIA operations to be able to interrogate, gain information, and also bribe some of the Afghanis on our side. The other factor of this war is the use of American technology, particularly air power and unmanned drones, to be able to surveil, gather intelligence, as well as launch missile attacks. One of the complications for this warlike strategy is we did not have enough manpower on the ground to be able to prevent Al-Qaeda and Taliban from fleeing Afghanistan into neighboring Pakistan. As they fled, it gave us the appearance as if the war in Afghanistan was a quick and easy victory. But what had ended up happening was Al-Qaeda and Taliban returned into Afghanistan with an insurgent effort to be able to attack American forces still in the country, and also to attack Afghani security forces and government that had been put into play. This required a troop surge, more troops to be inserted into the country to be able to offset the Al-Qaeda and Taliban insurgency. And this insurgency has made this war much longer than the American military and political strategists had expected. Of course, on May 2nd, 2011, Special Forces were ordered to make a raid into Pakistan, into a compound, to be able to kill Osama bin Laden. This is a collage of that raid. You can see in the lower left picture President Obama with his team and security um, advisors watching in real time the Special Forces raid of the compound. You'll see an aerial photograph of the compound, and the compound circled in the red line. And above that is the compound a year ago that has been destroyed. So there's actually nothing left of it. And certainly once Osama bin Laden had been killed, the question was whether or not the war in Afghanistan should come to a close, since we have accomplished the goal of killing the top Al-Qaeda leader, and before that we had killed and captured many of the other leaders of Al-Qaeda. But the war does still continue, which of course that war exhaustion of over a decade brings many voices in the United States as well as globally um, to bring the war to a close. As you can see the picture of these protesters standing in Washington, D.C., right in front of the White House, demanding that the war in Afghanistan end. The political cartoon also giving somewhat of a question of this war going much more long-term than people expected, and at a cost of more troops and more lives. And you can even see there with the Uncle Sam character, you know, questioning whether or not the mission in Afghanistan will be a success or a failure in the long term. This final slide, I want to give you a picture of Robbie Wolf, who is standing there. He's currently operating in Afghanistan, and is expected to come home with his men in July. There's certainly a cost financially, as you can see the figure there. There's also a question cost of whether or not the Taliban will come back and take power, or whether the new government in Afghanistan will work long term. There's a troop exhaustion. Many of our men have been deployed in Afghanistan in multiple tours of duty, bringing a physical, emotional, and psychological exhaustion, which is a significant issue that concerns American military leaders. And also there's a American and worldwide public opinion of United States policy and power and how power is used. The longer this war has gone, you know, that has put American power and policy into question by some. The YouTube clip that I have there just chronicles the lives of American soldiers who operated in Afghanistan and have returned home, and the PTSD that they are suffering from. It's kind of an intriguing video clip, and I ask you to type that into YouTube and give it a watch. It might give you some interesting perspective. I failed to mention this YouTube clip at the top. I put this in there for you to watch. It kind of examines some of the decisions, particularly in the early years in the war in Afghanistan. It may give you some interesting perspectives also on this war.